Hello everyone, this is going to be a short tutorial on how to set up tiles and tile terrains in Godot 4. Now, I'm going to use some free assets from Kenny's. This is going to be for a platformer because I also want to do some destructible tiles in the next tutorial. So for that reason, I'm going to use a platformer tile set, but you can totally take all of this information and apply it to top-down 2D games as well. It's the same technique, it works totally exactly the same. So for this tutorial, like I said, I'm going to use Kenny's assets. You can see here that I have some forms of terrain. So I have the grass kind of terrain. There's some desert one. There's some snow one. And there's also this bush tree kind of quote-unquote terrain. So I'm going to actually make 4 terrains, which is going to be grass, desert, snow, and a tree, I guess. We can also see that there's some mushrooms as well. So feel free to download this asset, check out Kenny's webpage. You can find him at kennys.nl and you go to assets and he has this very rich, huge set of assets that you can freely use. If you like his stuff, don't forget that you can donate. That's going to support him further making more free assets. But yeah, without much further ado, let's get into making this tile set work. The way I like my game to be structured is that I'm going to have a folder which contain all the assets, and I'm going to have a folder which contain all the objects, of course. So I'm going to create a new scene. I'm going to call this level because that's what it's going to be. So it's just a plain level for now. I'm going to add a tile map in here. And if I go here to tile set, I can create a new tile set. If you want to have multiple tile sets, you can totally make more files, but it's recommended that you just make one single tile set because actually this tile set can actually contain more than one image. So it's important that you also save it. I'm going to save it, I'm going to save it actually in assets, going to call it tile set. So now I have my tile set in here, so I can edit. In order to edit, I just click here. I can configure like the tile size, for example. And also in order to edit, I go down here, I click on tile set and extend this area. In order to make a new set of tiles, it's a tile set with sets of tiles, of course. In order to make a new tile atlas, I'm going to click on the plus button and we can see that we have 2 choices. It's Atlas and Scenes Collection. I'm going to cover Scenes Collection a little bit later to actually add the player. I will start with the Atlas. If I click it, it will require me to open the tiles themselves. So I'm going to open the image. It's asking me, hey, do you want me to automatically make tiles for this? I'm going to select no, because I forgot to do something. I forgot to change the texture region size, which should be 18 for this tile set in particular. We can see that the grid has changed now. It was 16 earlier. We can see it's not aligning itself correctly, right? So this tile is cut off, so that's not good. So I need to go to 18, and now we can see that all of the tiles are correctly being split up and drawn with this grid. And also need to change the same in here in tile size, so it's 18. This is going to depend on your tile set. Usually people making pixel art, they go for 16 by 16. Sometimes it's 8 by 8, or sometimes it can be something larger if that's the particular style you're going for. Remember, we haven't selected the automatic atlas, so we need to make our own tiles. So you need to click on setup, make sure that the eraser is not selected, and I'm going to only select the tiles that I'm going to be interested in, specifically the terrain ones. So the terrain ones would be these ones, right? These. I see a filler in here as well. I'm going to use this as well. That looks good, but I said I'm going to also include these from the trees. I think I'm also going for the mushroom one as well. So we are going to have actually 5 tile terrains. So we are going to have grass, sand, snow, bush, and mushroom. Now, of course, because I haven't selected all of the other tiles, that means I cannot use them in a map. I'm just going to be able to use these ones. So there's no reason to actually not press the yes when you're getting prompted with that. But for the sake of this example, I've done this so I show you all of the options that you have. The next menu, the select menu, allows you to select any of these tiles. You can see that you have so many data about these. You can add animation. I'm going to cover that in a different tutorial. You can change rendering, for example. You can make some of the tiles be colored differently. And we are interested in terrain. Also, there's miscellaneous. You can select the probability for some of the tiles as well. And in the paint property tab, you can actually add properties. So I'm actually going to select terrains. We can see that we have no terrains now. So first of all, I need to go here in my inspector, open the tileset terrain sets, and add a new element. And I'm going to say that yes, we need to match corners and sides. And I'm going to add a new terrain, which is going to be called grass. No zero in there. I'm going to color it green, going using the RGB. I think that's a good green, something like this. That's good. Okay, and now I need to paint this with the grass. So in order to do that, I need to first initialize all of the grass tiles. I'm going to also select these ones as well, this one as well, this, and this. We ignore these. Why I'm selecting this in the bottom in here? Because I want to have grass on top and dirt in the bottom, but I need to select them and tell the engine that hey, this terrain, the grass terrain, can contain these tiles. And now I need to specify and draw them how they look. So this is a centered one, so there's no edges to it. This looks like this. So what this means is that this tile can only be glued to another tile like this one unless it shares the green edge and the empty corners in here. The same goes for this one. This one has the center field and the bottom one, and we continue with this one and this one because this is being centered. So this piece can only be matched with this one to the bottom or itself to the bottom. The same goes for the top, but also on the top we can only match this one. This one looks like I should make it like this. These ones look like this with the corner parts being empty because you can see there's the outline to the outside, but the inside we have the terrain like this, and the bottom ones look something like this. And we fill everything up, and you can see now the corners and the centers match. So this tile can only fit with this tile or other tiles of the same tile. Like this tile can fit with this tile to its right or this tile to its right, but not this, neither this, but it can fit with one of these. And you're going to see how this is going to automatically allow us to make very interesting terrains. Okay, now with my grass terrain being ready, let's put it to the test. In this menu I can edit the tile set and the properties of the tile set. In this menu I edit the tile map itself, so placing tiles. This tab in here allows me to pick one of the tiles and place them manually like this, but that's a little bit more complicated and we don't want that. That's why we are using terrains. So in order to do that, I'm going to click on terrains and pick up grass. And now if I paint on the map, notice how the engine automatically mix and matches the shapes that we want to play with. How cool is that? I just paint with tiles and they automatically fit. Notice how in the interior we get 50% of this tile and 50% of this tile. That is because if we select this tile, we see that the probability is 1 and this probability is 1. So both of them have the probability of 1. So if you add the probabilities for both, it's 1 plus 1 and it's 1 divided by 2, right? Because it's either this one or either this one. If I want to make one to appear more so, for example, I want this to appear 5 times as much, I just put 5 in here. And now if I go back in here and I paint, press this, if I paint, I can see that the other tile, this one with less dots, it's appearing less often. That's because I changed the probability. Now I will want to add the next terrain. In order to do that, I need to duplicate some of the tiles because the tiles cannot share terrains. For example, these tiles in here, now they are assigned to have terrains which are assigned to grass, right? I cannot have a tile with two color assigned in here, so I need to duplicate them first. In order to do that, I need to go here and setup, right click on the tile that I want to duplicate, create an alternate tile, and I'm going to do the same for all of them, like this. I'm going to see them in here. Well, they're not that nicely displayed, unfortunately, but I'm going to be able to make multiple tiles. So I'm going to create a new terrain. I'm going to call it desert. I'm going to select an yellowish color, lemonish, like this, and do the same process again. Go to paint, select desert, going to initialize these tiles like this, like this, like this. For this one is like this. Now I cannot use the same tiles like these ones because they're already being painted with green from the grass. Oh, I also need to duplicate these ones. I'm going to do the same for these. And now I go back to paint. Now it's this is going to be a little bit more cumbersome because I have to paint these in here. But I can see that the outline is to the exterior, so only desert to the middle. In here it's ending in here, so only the first two parts. This seems to be an edge to the left. This seems to be a corner. This seems to be like the center, so I feel everything. This seems to be bordered at the bottom, so like this. This seems to be bordered to the right. This seems to be a corner. This seems to have a border in here, so it's a curvy piece like this. The same goes for this. Same goes for this. Same goes for this. So I think that's all right. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. Now let's test it in the tile map. So now if I press the desert and I draw with it, we can see we have some desert tiles. Now notice that the desert is going to push off the grass ones. For the simplicity of this tutorial, because we don't have any tiles which fit that that transition, you actually need to fix that manually like this, and then you need to patch it up like this, because making them connect to each other, it's a little bit more complicated, and that's not the scope of this tutorial. But you can always just do that manually, and then you can continue with making your platforms like this and like that. So I'm going to repeat the same steps for the snow terrain as well. Now I'll need to duplicate these tiles as well, so I can just press the plus button and paint them indirectly from here. Actually, I need to just replicate the pattern to the left. And now if I'm going to test it, I go here. Awesome, it just works. Good, now I said that I'm going to do the same with the mushroom and with the bush. So let's go for the bush first. I'm going to add a new terrain in here. So let's call it bush. I'm going to make it a different shade of green. So actually a darker green like this. I select bush in here. I do the same step. I just initialize all of the cells that I want to use, and then I just paint them, and you can actually see easier how this pattern actually works because all of these tiles are in the same place. Notice I'm just painting like inside. The exterior would be empty while the inside is with that particular tile. And now if I go here and just paint some bush, I can make some interesting tree very fast and quick. I'm going to do the same for the mushroom because this is going to be interesting. So I go back to my tile set, I create a new element, a new terrain, mushroom. I'm going to make the mushroom red in color, okay? I go back to paint with the mushroom, select all of the mushroom tiles, and I'm going to paint them. Oh, red is not a good color. I'm going to go for magenta, so it's easier to see. So in this tile we see that we have like a T shape because the mushroom goes to the left, to the right, and downwards. This is like a bar. We have two variants, and this ends like this, and this is like this, and this is like these, because this is the end cap part of the cap, and this is the left end cap part of the cap, and this is like an extension of the cap. Yeah, so let's test the mushroom now. If I go here in mushroom and I go like this, the mushroom just just works. Look at that. I can make very wonky mushrooms. Wait, I need to make the star just one single width. I can go wild like this as well. Like a mushroom colosseum of sorts. So yeah, this is pretty much how you use the terrains in tiles. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I really hope you enjoyed. If you do like this kind of videos, don't forget to like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next tutorial. Bye!